Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Sliced Bread. So in this episode, I thought I'll take a look at how TripAdvisor has lost its way among its core users, the traveler. But before I get into the top 3 reasons why TripAdvisor may have lost its user base, let's look at some numbers, especially revenue growth as well as user growth. In both cases, they've either remained flat or declined. In the case of revenue, it has remained somewhere flat with about $1.6 billion in revenue, in annual revenue for the company. And when you compare it with companies like Yelp, yes, it does do better than Yelp in that case. But when you look at the growth rates, user growth has declined over the last 2 years, and I think that's a troubling sign for the company. So let's look at 3 reasons why this may have happened. The number one reason why I think they are losing users is because they've become more of a commercial website rather than being a TripAdvisor. So I wanted to search for this place Maui in Hawaii and see what are things to do there. And when you actually look at what we see with things to do, you'll notice that there's a lot more focus on tours, excursions, cruises. But really, what are the things that we want to do there? If you look at what I'm showcasing at this point, you'll see that the number one listing is for something that was ranked number 53. Why not show something that was number 1? Why show something that was number 53 or right on the top? I'm sure there's some algorithm going on here where they try to weight the number of reviews that they get with the number of stars, but it just does not make sense when you rank them number 53 and show them right on top. But this wasn't always the case, and I wanted to show you an example of that. So I went back to 2015 with the help of Wayback Machine, and what I found was quite startling. So if you look for Prague on the Wayback Machine in TripAdvisor for 2015, you will actually notice something very, very simple. It was very minimalistic to actually look at all the results. You'll see number 1 ranked listing put up surprise number 1 on the page, and you'll also see the reviews. You'll also be able to book a tour if you wanted, but that was not the front and center of your experience. The front and center of your experience was to look at what were the locations or what were things to do that was highly ranked. So I'm baffled at how the product team could have missed this and why the metrics sort of drove decisions away from being user focused. It's very cliched, but when you look at the current version of TripAdvisor, you'll see that when I search for Prague, you'll see some of the listings there are more towards the excursions part of it, more towards what the mobile app really showed. And when you compare it to what it was back in 2015, where it was a simpler experience and something to do with the travelers, you'll see how the disconnect has materialized over the last couple of years. The second reason why I think they have lost out number of users is lack of differentiation. So back in 2015 or even the years prior to that, they were really popular because of their social features. You could follow other fellow travelers. There was a lot of gamification elements to it as well. So when you posted a review, you would get a lot of review points for it. The third and the other reason why I think they're losing out a number of users is the emergence of Google Maps in advising trips. So we know recently Google Trips was shut down as an application, and most of its features was rolled up into Google Maps. I think this was very clever. So when you did a Google search for places for you to visit in Hawaii, for example, you would get YouTube video recommendations. You would get traveler tips from others who also visited Hawaii, who would put up reviews, because more often than not, you would have given permissions for Google Maps to use your location. How else are you going to get navigation directions? So when you automatically give that permission to Google, when you arrive at the location that you wanted to visit, it would ask you for your reviews, especially if you're using an Android phone. And so this made it very easy for them to collect reviews over a period of a few months, and has resulted in really rich recommendations that would show up to you as well. You'd also discover places that would have otherwise not been very apparent on TripAdvisor. So I think these are 3 reasons why TripAdvisor has really lost out to companies like Google. But I do want to point out that if they go back to something that they were doing back in 2015, where they kept the user as a focus, it is cliche, right? You want to focus on the user always. But I think in this case, it's quite stark that they've wanted to focus on a revenue generation rather than looking at the traveler. Thanks for watching this video, and until the next episode of Sliced Bread, goodbye.